In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about a suitable amount of capital letters, the lower threat level in anagrams in Indiana Jones-style challenges, and touching a yeti with a majestic mustache and distracting nipples. In our discussion of Lumberjanes, Beware the Kitten Holy, created by Noelle Stevenson, Shannon Watters, Grace Ellis, and Brooklyn Allen. Everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Lumberjanes, Beware of the Kitten Holy, created by Noelle Stevenson, Shannon Watters, Grace Ellis, and Brooklyn Allen.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read the book and then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
Yay! I'm wearing the hat you get me.
Yay, your Bigfoot hat. It's appropriate.
Bigfoot hat. Look, it's cool. I love it.
It's a very appropriate hat to wear today. Even though there are no Bigfoots, there is a lot of outdoorsiness, and, a Bigfoot could occur at any moment.
Well, exactly. When you're in the great outdoors, having the great summer camp adventure, many different things can happen.
Many different things. Many Bigfoots could appear.
Does your background information have Bigfoots?
No.
Oh.
No, it doesn't.
I am sad now.
I know, I'm sorry. My background info comes from an interview with Noelle Stevenson, or N.D. Stevenson, depending on the time and what exactly you're talking about.
Mm.
Anyway, they were talking about growing up and, not necessarily liking the girly stories, things that happen. So I took this out of the middle of the response to the question that they were asked. They said, I didn't like the stories where it was people telling girls that they couldn't do things and girls did it anyway. I didn't want people to be like, no, you're a girl. I didn't want people to make a big deal of them being a girl. I just wanted them to have fun. So it was very important with Lumberjanes. We didn't see any male characters until book 4. I just didn't even want that to be an influence on them. I just wanted them to be on their own, and we tried to avoid a lot of the whole girls rule, boys drool, whatever. I'm not interested in that. It's very boring to me. Boy characters are just more characters for them to interact with. And I like that. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week with the found family and It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you're a succubus and you're a hob and you're a ratkin and you're an orc. It doesn't matter. You're just there.
Yeah.
And I like that too.
Yeah. No, I enjoy that. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Oh. So is that your initial thoughts?
That I like that it's okay for people to just be people?
Well,
it could be. But I also want to say everyone knows how much we love Nimona.
I'm very much looking forward to the Netflix.
Yeah. So, we decided to read something else N.D. Stevenson had their hand in. I was in. I'm into it. Let's do it.
Yes, we've both at one point recommended Lumberjanes without actually having read it yet. So now we can recommend it fully knowing what it's about.
We can and will and do and are and am and is and was and will. What?
You did?
Probably. It's hard to say. I don't know.
It's getting awkward, that's all I know. I'm just going to give you my initial thoughts and move on.
Probably you should.
Have you ever seen the cartoon Gravity Falls?
No.
It's ostensibly for kids. It is on Disney Plus. It wasn't on Disney Channel. But it's got a huge adult following as well, and it's about two kids who go and live with their uncle in a place called Gravity Falls, and mysterious and wonderful and magical things happen. There is monsters, there is occult happenings. It is delightful and everywhere, and there's a chord, there's a weird chord put at the end of the credits every week that if you can decipher, you know how it ends. And I've recently started rewatching it because I missed a lot of the episodes. So check out Gravity Falls, because if you like Gravity Falls and you like Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing Academy for Young Ladies of Qualité, you are going to love Lumberjanes, because essentially Lumberjanes is Gravity Falls meets Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing School.
I'm upset with you that you didn't say it in its full glory every single time.
Academy for Young Ladies of Qualité.
Qualité.
Qualité. In the bad French accent. Would you like this pain au chocolat?
No, don't talk about pain de chocolat again. Please go and see last week's episode.
Shall we dive into the summary headlong without looking where we're going?
Yes, as is the way of the Lumberjane. Should we start with the Lumberjane's pledge?
Yes.
Excellent.
I solemnly swear to do my best every day and in all that I do,
to be brave and strong, to be truthful and compassionate, to be interesting and interested, to pay attention and question the world around me, to think of others first, to always help and protect my friends. And then there's a line about God or whatever, and to make the world a better place for Lumberjane Scouts and for everyone else.
Now that's over with. Let's begin.
Let us begin indeed with the Up All Night badge. Nature is great during the day, but there's even more to experience when the sun goes down. Curiosity and courage are important to a Lumberjane. She wants to test her wits with the elements and experience the possible truths while the rest of the world sleeps. The Up All Night badge is for the Lumberjane who has conquered the unknown during the day and is ready to explore and learn what goes bump in the night.
It's nighttime, and April is wandering the woods in her red cloak and clutching her torch.
Her flashlight! They're not British! Flashlight!
A deer dashes in front of her, startling and causing April to drop her torch.
Flashlight!
As she bends to pick up her torch,
No, flashlight!
There is a looming figure with 4 glowing eyes behind her. Then there is screaming. The figure is actually her friends and fellow Lumberjanes, Mal and Molly. They were exploring the river and only found gross spiders, so they came to find her instead. Joe comes along and reminds them that this is supposed to be a stealth mission, when a loud "Ah!" interrupts her. Power pose!
There are many shadows of creatures with 3 eyes in the trees looking at the Lumberjanes. April screams, "To Grandmother's house we go!" when the demonic foxes attack. Guess they're doing this. As they make snappy Red Riding Hood quips, the Lumberjanes battle the foxes. But where's Ripley? Riding one of the foxes and punching it in the eyes, which is not surprising at all. It's on brand. As it poofs out of existence, a gold ring drops to the grass. Then, as one, the foxes howl into the air and words appear. Beware the Kitten Holy. What the junk? This is all very confusing, but they have to worry about decoding the cryptic message later. They need to get back to camp before Jen wakes up.
Together they sneak back to Ms. Quinzella Fesquin Pinquilquil Thistle Crumpet's camp for hardcore lady types. Friendship to the max. But they aren't in the clear. Jen, their camp counsellor, is awake and catches them. Firing off excuses about a bear woman and magic foxes gives her a headache, so Jen marches them to Rosie, the camp director. Rosie is wielding an axe and using it to carve an eagle's foot when they enter. Out of wood, I should say. She's not too bothered about the girls being out all night, but being in the woods, that sounds bad.
It does. Sending Jen to get everyone some hot cocoa, Rosie gets the whole story. The girls saw an old woman outside their cabin being super weird and saying lots of swears they'd never heard before. Then whoosh, she changes into a bear, so obviously they followed it, met some foxes they beat up, and now they're here. While the events of the night are being recounted, Ripley, who desperately needs to pee, spots a funny-shaped glowing green jewel in the director's bathroom. She's very intrigued by it, but does she take it? In the main room, Rosie is impressed by the story, asks the girls to recount the Lumberjane pledge, and sends them on their way with a warning that they are gonna see some stuff they might not understand over the summer, and they should stick together and remember their pledge. Oh, and stop by her table at breakfast for their up-all-night badges.
Naval Gauging Badge. Lumberjanes can find their way around any situation and recognise the importance of naval abilities to navigate any body of water. A Lumberjane understands the importance of safety and that the wilderness can lull an unsuspecting person to a false sense of security. A Lumberjane will remain ready and able because drowning is a scary way to go.
It's time for the Lumberjanes to prove their seaworthiness, so Jen takes them to that cruel mistress, the river. Ripley wants to see a whale or a shark, and Mal is convinced that there are monsters everywhere. Jen, already losing her patience, dispels any notions they may have. Before pushing off in their canoes, Joe asks for a final tip. April says, yeah, don't tip over, and earns the Pungeon Master badge. Everything's going well until rapids!
Jen orders everyone to head to shore, but April and Joe are caught in the current. In the panel, they do not look displeased by this.
No.
Mal and Molly need to save their pals though. Mal is terrified, but Ripley, not want to be left out of the action, dives into the river to help her friends, leaving Jen alone in the canoe. Luckily for her, Molly pulls her out of the water just before a river monster attacks. April pulls a scrunchie off her wrist and pings it at the river monster's middle eye, sending it thrashing rage and scaring it off. They all make it to the shore, but Mal is being carried by Molly. She was underwater and now isn't breathing. The friends start to perform CPR, but Ripley takes a running jump onto Mal, expelling the water. Whatever works. Ripley saves the day! As Molly helps Mal stand, Jo puts another gold ring into her bag.
The canoes are broken, so they need to head back to camp on foot. The Lumberjanes are tired and hungry, and then a three-eyed eagle steals their candy bar. Ripley chases the bird to the top of a tree, gets distracted by the spectacular view, and spots a tower by the water. Ripley then crashes back to the ground and finds a cave. There's some debate over whether they should go into the cave, but then Ripley dives straight down, so the rest have to follow. At the bottom of the slide down, the Lumberjanes find themselves in a cavern with carved pillars and giant statues.
Everything under the sun badge. A Lumberjane will learn to use math in everyday situations and recognise how math makes the wilderness easier to traverse. Math will help the Lumberjane prepare for any adventure or task and help her friends set up for success, because math leads to a basic understanding of life.
This is bad. The Lumberjanes can't go back. The slope they slid down is too steep to climb back up, and the hall they've landed in is rather creepy and cultish, so they can't stay. The only option is to go further into the tunnel. But, who put all of this stuff here? Ripley thinks it was the Holy Kitten. Mal thinks it's a weird cult. while April thinks it was probably witches. After traveling through a very dark tunnel, the Lumberjanes enter another chamber with a huge talking statue. Mr. Talking Statue declares none may pass unless they best him in a feat of strength. Flex muscles, show the guns. I have no guns. The challenge? Arm wrestling. April rolls up her sleeves as she steps forward and proceeds to kick Mr. Talking Statue's butt by snapping his arm off. Try flexing now, Pungent Master. This grants them access through the door.
Joe jinxes the situation by asking what else the weirdo tunnel has in store for them.
Don't call attention to it.
Because Molly immediately steps on a trap which causes arrows to shoot at them. And another statue, this one with an owl head, a glowing red jewel in its chest, and a giant scythe, takes a swing at them. Unfortunately, they can't escape because the door out of the chamber is closed. Mal shouts, "Ripley! Fastball special!" And then she throws Ripley at the owl statue, knocking it down. Mal grabs the red jewel from the statue's chest and inserts it in the hole in the door, causing it to open. They dash through as the owl statue, who in the picture has really voluptuous bosoms.
Such a nice bosom.
So nice. Chases them. Together, they run down the hall as the door at the end starts to lower. In true Indiana Jones style.
All of this is Indiana Jones. All of it.
Molly loses her coonskin cap and has to reach back under the closing door and rescue it just in the nick of time. Everyone is unscathed, though Mal did get a bruise on her shoulder when she tried to stop the door from squishing Molly.
The Lumberjanes aren't safe yet, and now they're in a puzzle room. The floor is made up of intermittent pillars, each with a random letter or number on the top. Ripley charges forward and the pillar crumbles beneath her, but luckily April catches her. Joe realizes that it's a Fibonacci sequence and starts jumping along, the rest of the Lumberjanes following in her footsteps. On the other side, the Lumberjanes enter another chamber with nonsensical words carved into the dome ceiling. This is another Indiana Jones.
It's also a little Resident Evil as well.
Yeah, I could see that. But seriously, there's
Unlock the door through puzzles.
There's the scene when he's going after the Grail, and he has to step on the right panels to spell out words.
God with an I.
I think it's Jehovah.
Jehovah. But it's not Jehovah with a J.
It's with
Jehovah
an I.
With an I. Molly takes a quick glance and declares it's a room full of anagrams, with one of the sentences saying, "The truth is out there." With a gasp, Molly grabs April's diary and starts ripping up the page where she wrote, "Beware the Kitten Holy," to reveal, in the tower by the lake.
I love a good word puzzle. I love a good anagram.
Ripley yells that she saw a tower by the lake, and Joe declares that they should check it out. But how are they going to escape? The answer is written on the ceiling, and no, Ripley, it does not mean to pee on some stuff. It's open sesame. Of course.
Of course it is.
A rope ladder unfurls from the top of the dome, and they manage to get back to camp. Rosie and Jen are reporting their disappearance to a ranger when they burst into the director's cabin. As they group hug a very upset Jen, Rosie tells them that she's glad they had fun, but their punishment is moose stable duty for a week. Yay? It's a split decision over yay or nay.
Do you know who would be excited about seeing a moose in the woods?
Stevie Bell.
Robin Hood badge. Lumberjanes recognize the benefits of hand-eye coordination. What once was considered a sport can help a lumberjane develop this skill. A lumberjane must rely on herself when in nature, not on manufactured items. The skill of archery will be learned within the safety of camp, and with the support of her friends, a lumberjane will hone her ability and confidence. After all, a sharp eye shows sharp wit.
Jen has taken the Lumberjanes on a hike at their behest. However, they are impatient and want to explore the tower and not look at Lance and Tiny. tiny detail for very, very long periods of time. Finally, the tower comes into sight, but Jen is suspicious of them. Justifiably. Just then, April spots a giant footprint in the grass. Going to investigate, they find a yeti sitting in the foliage.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oh! It has these, like, giant pink nipples.
And, like...
They're very distracting.
They are, and they have the most handsomest mustaches in the entire world.
Oh, they are gentlemen.
They are dapper with their
yes.
giant pink nipples.
When it rolls at them, the Lumberjanes run back to Jen, knock her into her, and as one, tumble over the edge of a hill into some poison ivy. Watching all this is a group of Boy Scouts. The Scouts offer them ointment and cookies back at their camp, yay. Mr. Theodore, Tarquin, Reginald, Lancelot, Herman Crumpet's camp for boys. Be watchful. Be prepared.
At the boys' camp, Jen is overwhelmed by the cleanliness, the tea, the cookies. How does Ned, their scout leader, do it? She must know Ned's ways. Suddenly, the camp director thunders in. He's a big, hairy man with an eye patch and a bad attitude. He hates tea, thinks girls are ill, and that womenfolk are stupid. After shouting and belittling everyone, he leaves to catch a fish by wrestling it away from a bear. Joe asks one of the scouts, Barney, how they can get to the tower by the lake because they think it could help them solve some of the mysteries they've encountered. Barney will help distract Jen while the Lumberjanes sneak out. As one, they get up and go to the bathroom. Subtle.
Once outside, they spot a group of yetis talking about how gross humans are. One of them was nearly touched by one. Ew, 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 ew.
Ew.
Ew. The yetis have been hired to guard the tower, and no, they won't say by who. Thankfully, Ripley brought all the cookies and uses them to bribe the yetis to let them pass. They've gained access to the creepy tower, and now they climb.
The tower is a lighthouse, but instead of a light at the top, there is a golden bow and quiver of arrows. Molly has her Robin Hood badge, so they want her to keep hold of it and leave a note explaining that they borrowed it. It's very responsible.
It is.
Back at the boys' camp, Jen realizes the Lumberjanes have been gone to the bathroom for a little bit too long. While Ned tries to calm her down, something overcomes him and all the other scouts too. They suddenly have glowing white eyes and pointy teeth. They've gone rabid! Jen escapes by throwing a bowl of green beads, causing the scouts to have to stop and pick them up because they can't have such a mess.
Ooh. Meanwhile, the Lumberjanes are making their way back, hoping Jen hasn't noticed. They're gone. But then they see Jen running and screaming in their direction, followed by the rabid scouts. The Lumberjanes run away, April knocking Barney to the ground. This seems to actually knock some sense back into him, causing him to recognise her. But then April runs after her friends.
Way to go, April.
Yeah.
The Lumberjanes cross a rope bridge stretched across a ravine. Molly waits on the other side, bow drawn, arrow notched, for April to make it across. When she does, Molly lets the arrow fly, slicing through the rope supports and stopping the rabid scouts from following. Jen wants to know what the junk just happened. Joe thinks the scouts were possessed and worries it could happen to them, too. Jen realizes that all the monsters the Lumberjanes told her about are real, and she didn't believe them, but now she does, and she's on their side.
Meanwhile, all the rabid scouts are congregated in front of a creepy wooden stage lit by flaming torches. A figure in shadows holds a golden scepter with an all-seeing eye on the top. "You have failed me," he shouts, but not to worry, he tells them with a big creepy smile, because next time they'll be prepared. End of Volume 1.
Aww, and that's all we're talking about today.
Oh, I've got the first 4 volumes I'm going to be reading. Thank you.
Aw.
Because I got to know.
Yay. Everyone go grab some cookies or some cocoa, maybe a s'more.
Ooh. Ooh.
And then we'll come back and meet right here. But don't disappear for too long, and don't run off and climb a tower and disappear and leave us here by ourselves with the Rabid Boy Scouts.
Do not
okay?
chase the bear woman.
Don't touch a yeti.
Don't touch a yeti. Words to live by.
Hi, I'm Bethany Finger, the host of Prince Kai Fan Pod, a Marissa Meyer Book Club podcast. Join me every week during my read-along journey through all of the books by author Marissa Meyer, one chapter at a time, spoiler-free. Each episode will feature a different guest, new fan art, and laughter and joy through reading. You can find Prince Kai Fan Pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all other listening platforms. And now, back to the show.
Did you touch a yeti?
I might have touched a yeti.
Oh, go on, I'll let you off. Just because you're cute.
Thanks. Aw.
I really enjoyed this.
It was very cute. Very short, sweet, fun, adorable.
I know when we've done graphic novels in the past, they've always been standalones, and they've always been thicker volumes. Well, that's a lie. Law of Olympus is volume 1, but that's all that's currently available in book form. So that's by the way. A time
and
of
that's
recording.
what we're talking about. The books, not the
webtoons. No, I didn't realise how many volumes of Lumberjanes there were. Like in the comic shop, there was 20 of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
That's just the main series.
Yeah, there's spin-offs and lots of other things.
Yes, so I'm perfectly delighted because I need a new long series to get my teeth into. So when we were talking about what to cover, and we, thought about Lumberjanes at last. I was like, yes, I can finally get my teeth into it. So yeah, this is totally my graphic novel bag. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's girl power.
Yes. I feel like last week's episode was all you, and this week's episode is all you, but like the other half of you.
I do feel like I've slightly taken over June.
Yeah, you have.
The
I'm just hanging out. I just like you.
Of Claire.
Yeah, I just like you, so I'm here.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
We'll get some horror, some zombies in next month.
Yeah, it's got to happen. And also, coming up, not next week, but the next week, we're back with Tegan Frost, hanging out and moving shit with our minds. So it's fine.
It's
fine. Everything's fine.
We haven't done any Regency romance this month, so you're safe.
I am. If that happens...
No, I'm saving that from you. Don't worry. I'll keep that separated from you.
Thank you.
I will take that gleefully for the team.
Thank you.
But
anyway, let's talk about this.
I mean, to be fair though, this was absolutely batshit crazy. Like, it was bonkers.
It was bonkers.
It was a bunch of girls, friends to the max, found family, weird stuff happening to them, throw in some Indiana Jones style shenanigans, and a mystery. What's not to love about it?
Yeah. It's wonderful in every way. Actually, the only thing I didn't really care for was what the junk, because they said it too much for my taste.
Yeah.
But it
wasn't a great. It wasn't the best catchphrase.
No, but this is, separate pieces. It's 4 comics bound into one. So if you're not getting what the junk back to back to back to back, maybe you'll like it more.
Yeah, one an episode's not bad. What I got a little thrown by was there was one character, and I cannot remember which one, but they're always, when they're exclaiming, the name people. I'm like, I don't know who that is. You know, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah,
So,
I did like it though, because it's all like
who's Bessie Coleman?
I know the answer to this. She's a pilot. That's the word.
Ah.
She's an aviator. She's the first black woman to be a pilot or something like that.
Okay, I'm googling now. Early American civil aviator. She was the first African American woman and first Native American pilot. Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
really cool.
I mean, I knew some of it.
Well,
I knew.
This is a good thing with the Lumberjanes. It's making us have this conversation about who's this person, and we should know who this person. I mean, obviously you do because she's American. She's American history, so you've probably unconsciously or consciously heard of her before.
Yes,
have an
I've
awareness
absorbed
as
this
a Brit.
information.
No, she's not going to have been included in any history background that I've ever been taught. But that's really interesting. And so now I'm going to have to go back through and pick the names out and do some research. So I really enjoy that actually about Lumberjanes. It's making me actually look a little bit more. I looked a little bit more into the characters because I was like, I need to know. Joe.
They also. Oh, sorry.
Joe is trans.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. I knew there was a trans character, but I wasn't sure who was, and I was just.
And that's part of the joy about it, because it doesn't matter, because they're a delightful character.
Yes.
And they're just wonderful in how they choose to be.
Just me being very nosy. And Joe and April are cousins and best friends.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
And Mal and Molly, it is inferred in the book, there are looks and a lot of concern for each other's well-being.
I think they're holding hands in one of the panels too.
Yes. Mal is definitely a lesbian, and at this stage, Molly's preferences are not stipulated. But yes. Spoilers, yes. So I had to delve in there, especially because it's June, and I mean, yes, we're doing Spiteful Baker Month as our theme, but let's not forget it's in America it's Pride Month, so it's nice to take acknowledge characters and authors and illustrators who are also LGBTQ+.
Yeah, but we do that all the time anyway.
It's just standard practice for us. We're just kind of highlighting it because it's Pride Month in the US.
But just know that we're not. This isn't like a token thing for us. We're always.
We're reading it that we decided, and then I kind of think it was about a week later. I went, it's Pride Month in the US. That's so cool, because we have our Pride is a different month.
Yeah.
So
it should just be all Pride all the time.
Well, exactly. I completely agree with that.
Let's change it.
Yes.
Me and you, right now.
Done.
All Pride, all the time.
It's canon.
Do you know something else that I appreciated? And I started to say this a minute ago, and then we started talking about something else. But, when they shout out the famous female exclamations.
Yeah.
I can only recall two off the top of my head. Bessie Coleman and Mae Jemison. And Mae Jemison is a black astronaut. So it feels to me like they're not just famous women. They're famous women of color.
Yes.
Which is even better to shout about.
Yes.
Yay!
It's a positive platform. It's a platform that's being used in a very positive way, and how can you not love that?
You have to. You have to love it.
And the artwork is so good. Like the front cover of the collected edition is done by N.D. Stevenson. And, you know, we know from Nimona how good their art style is and how much we absolutely love it.
Yes.
And I do wonder how much N.D.'s influence over the Somerville, the math badge, which its entire name has completely gone out of my brain. Everything under the sun badge, because in Nimona, science,
yes.
So yeah, you can distinctly tell that the same talent is behind both.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's made me very excited. I think when I saw the pictures coming out from the Netflix animation studio for Nimona, and they were finally saying yes, it's happening. After years of development, it's finally happening. I'm sure I thought, oh, Lumberjanes. And you had thought at exactly the same time. And it's just so exciting. I just love it. I love Andy's art style. It's comic-y, but it's not at the same time. I don't know. I just think it's a really clean style. You can really get a lot of it. They're very good at saying a lot with no words.
Yes. And it's also just adorable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, those yeti nipples, my gosh, they were glorious.
They really were. They really, really were. And the mustaches.
Majestic.
And like swoopy hairdos and everything. Everything about the yetis.
And
top notch.
The owl head statue. Those bosoms were distracting.
That was a nice set of bosom. Definitely. And you know how we feel about talking about bosoms.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know, I really enjoyed all of the Indiana Jones stuff.
Yes.
Because that whole set. Challenge, yes. Was all Indiana Jones. All Indiana Jones, all the time. The only thing they were missing was the giant ball rolling at them.
Yes! I'm surprised they didn't have to replace an idol with a ball of sand.
Yeah. Yeah. Or reach their hand into bugs to flip a switch.
Where were the snakes?
They didn't have snakes. They saved the snakes for later. Surely there's going to be snakes involved in something. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I like all the puzzles that they went through and everything they had to solve. And I mean, I really like an anagram. So I was into that. I feel like I would have been right there solving the puzzles right along with them. I could just fit right in. But you know what? Skipping ahead a little bit to favorite character. You read this first.
Yes.
And texted me, "You are April." Oh my God, Amanda, you are April. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, that is me. She even wears like multiple black bracelets on her wrist. That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
And it made me happy.
Oh, honestly, just these little bits and pieces, I was like, I knew you had the book, but I didn't know if you'd read it. You hadn't said. I mean, we don't always tell each other, you know, where we are in the stages of reading.
Right.
Only if we're summarising the book, that's really when we know. And I was like, I have to tell you, I have to get this off my chest, because every panel April is in, I'm like, it's a band. So yeah, I'm when I sent it to you, I was like, you've either read it, great, you've either read it, like, don't know, or you might have read it, insulted. But you can't be insulted by April, because April is, like, she's my favourite character out of them.
Yeah,
she's
mine too.
An unexpected little dynamo. She's teeny tiny pocket size for travel convenience, but she is strong. She literally...
She broke an arm off a statue. She won an arm wrestling match with a statue.
Don't mess with her.
No, but she used her smarts. She used leverage to break his arm off. And it was adorable. Science! Yes. And she slingshots a scrunchie into the river monster's eye. Like, she knows what's up.
She does. She's an absolute badass. I love April. I love April.
Me too.
Ripley,
Me
what the
too.
heck is going on with Ripley? Like,
Ripley
my
stressed me
goodness.
out a little bit.
Really?
Yes. Because Ripley doesn't always pay attention to what is going on around her, and then she just cannonballs into the situation.
Literally.
Literally, yeah. She felt to me like a kid's sister. She was written younger than all of the rest of the Lumberjanes. And then I was kind of wondering, well, like, why is she in the cabin with them? Why is she a part of this group? She fits right in, famously, but she felt like a kid's sister.
I think she might have been, like, the youngest Lumberjane.
She acted like the youngest Lumberjane, which is tiny and adorable and fine. But she felt maybe 12 to me, while the other ones were older than that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I certainly get an older age from, like, Jo feels a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can see where you're coming from. Ripley is impetuous. Yeah. But it was sweet seeing Molly and Mal as well, like the concern when Molly gets the bruise on their arm and Mal's like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you, and it's like, oh, just freaking kiss already.
I know, right? And she's like, I'm totally fine. It's not any big deal at all. Don't worry about it. I'm just like, oh, but your arm. Oh.
To be fair, that's one of the things I loved about it. I mean, we're saying about the found family, but they genuinely care about each other. They're genuinely looking after each other.
Yes.
And making sure that everybody is succeeding and being the best. Like, when they find the bow and arrow, there's no squabbling. It's, you take it, you have your Robin Hood badge, you know what you're doing with this, so you're the most, you know, logical person to take this. Best leave a note, because we're not, you know, we're not being polite, we're not being rude.
Yeah.
But there's no competition between them.
No.
It's just this drive.
No, they know each other's strengths and they support each other's strengths.
Yes. Yes. So for all the fact I'm not an outdoorsy person, I want to be a Lumberjane. I mean, to be fair, I'm in it for the mysterious, creepy stuff.
Right.
I want to go and investigate
to touch
the
a
weird
yeti.
cult. Yeah, I want to go and touch a yeti and investigate the cult. I mean...
Yeah, me too. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that too.
Cool.
100%. Especially touching a yeti.
Don't touch the yeti!
One of them almost touched me. Yeah.
Sanitary wipes.
I'm touching a yeti. Deal with it. Were you surprised by anything?
Rabid Boy Scouts?
Me too. The boy campers going bonkers is like the notes that I wrote down. What is this?
Yeah, it was out of left field.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there had to be something up. There had to be something weird, because, hello, this is Lumberjanes. But yeah, I wasn't expecting rabid Boy Scouts. And the camp director going to go and fish and wrestling and wrestle the fish out of a bear.
I loved how ridiculous he was. I think all of my favorite quotes are maybe from him.
I think so too. They're all very shouty. There's a lot of shouting, a lot of exclamation points, and capitalizations.
A lot of capital letters, yes.
Yes. Which I appreciate. It's not even an abundance, it's a suitable amount of capital letters.
So good. It's wonderful. Everything about it is tiny and adorable.
Do you have any surprises?
Just the same. The bonkers boy campers. For sure. For sure.
Tell me your ways. How do you keep them in line? The mess is no mess. And
then they go rabid. That's how. That's how they keep everything organized.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, it really, after I read the first one, I've really just wanted to read the rest. And I haven't. I've purposely not, so I can not be influenced.
Sure.
Like, the most I've done is look into the characters to find out, like, how Joe and April are related, and did Molly and Mal get together, because I had to have that spoiled. I needed that. I needed to share that. So.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I had to find out. But it was really, really good. I really like the camp director as well for the Lumberjanes. I loved her style. Her big red cat's eye glasses.
Yes, and her tattoos.
Yes.
Rosie is her name?
Yes,
right?
I can honestly see that as a cosplay, and it would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Rosie was pretty great.
I'd be
also
interested
that
just every now and again. Sorry?
Oh, I was going to add that I like Rosie because, Jen is freaking out about the girls disappearing and exploring and doing all this stuff, and Rosie's like, "Yeah, I'm into it. And guess what? It's going to get weird." And they're like, "Yay."
Here's a badge.
Here's a badge. Go and do more weird stuff.
Love it. I was thinking, I like the fact that there's so many of them now. So when we're like, "Ooh, what can we do?" We can dip in.
Yes, if we ever need to fill in a spot.
Yes.
We've got an automatic placeholder.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you think Ripley took the green gem from Rosie's bathroom?
Yes.
And what the heck is the rings? I'm thinking it's got to be something to do with the cult, but we're not going to find out unless we read on.
Right. So we are going to have to read on so we can find out.
Ah, shucks.
Oh, no.
Hope the Yetis are in again.
Me too. They were too beautifully drawn to not be included.
Those nipples.
I know.
The majestic facial hair.
I know.
Such gentlemen.
Yeah.
Or gentle ladies. Or gentle persons.
Gentle beasts.
Gentle yetis.
Gentle cryptids.
Yes, I love a cryptid.
Yeah. Especially when they're gentle.
Yes.
Anyway.
Is it time?
I think it is time. It is time indeed.
Okay.
But, it's a little different this time. Because, spoiler alert, we may or may not be doing this out of order.
Oops.
So we may or may not have comments.
I may or may not be in the woods touching a yeti right now.
It's true. It's really hard to say what is actually happening in the realistic real-world timeline right now.
Yeah. Where are we? What are we doing? Who knows?
No one can say.
So we're going to dive in, and we're not going to have any listener comment this week.
No.
But thank you if you have commented.
Yes. I'm curious because we're still going to post the question that we would ask. So I'm curious as to what the answer is going to be. Should we make a bet?
Yes.
Although no one will know. We'll have to report back in a few episodes after the timeline has readjusted itself.
Yes. Hopefully not creating a paradox. What'd you guess?
Well, what's the question?
Would you rather go canoeing with Jen or go for a hike with Jen? Jen is a subjective character.
Jen is not important. The important thing is, would you
canoeing
rather...
versus hiking.
Yes. Hike, canoe. Hike, canoe.
I'm going to say hike.
I'm going to say canoe.
Okay.
Because that's what I would rather do.
Loser buys the hot dogs. Or the Waffle House breakfast.
Waffle House, yes. Okay. Yeah. I would rather go canoeing than hiking. I like to do both. But I feel like canoeing is cooler, like temperature-wise, because you're on the water. And if you get hot, you can just, reach over the side, splash some water on you, and keep going. But hiking, and sometimes hiking, sometimes hiking goes up high, and I don't love that. I don't love going up high. So I'm going to go canoeing because, like rivers don't go high up into the air.
They go down. Waterfalls and rapids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do that. I don't want to white water raft. I just want a gentle canoe.
Okay.
What are you doing? What do you want to do?
I'm going hiking.
Okay.
I've never been canoeing, and when canoes like capsize, that terrifies me. I can swim, but I'm not the strongest swimmer.
Drowning is not a good way to go, as we learned.
I can tread water for days, but I'm not the strongest swimmer. So if my canoe was to capsize, it would probably send me into a panic. So I can't do it. You can't drown in a hike. Plus, there's always a chance I can touch a yeti.
It's true. You could always touch a yeti.
Okay. What's next question?
Would you rather arm wrestle Mr. Talking Statue or outrun the big bosom owlhead statue?
Now you see, the big bosom is going to distract me and I'll trip over and fall, and then the owl head aspect with her scythe is going to get me. So I'm going to try and arm wrestle Mr. Talking Statue because all you need is leverage.
Yes, I believe I agree with you for pretty much the exact same reason. Also, just looking ahead, Mr. Talking Statue had one of my favorite quotes, so just look forward to that in a little bit. But I like Mr. Talking Statue, so I want to arm wrestle him.
Nice. What's the next one?
You have to ask the next one. It's your turn.
It's me.
It's your turn.
Is it? I'm totally out of order. Would you rather follow the bear woman or yeti tracks into the forest? I think my answer is self-explanatory.
Why is this even a question? Yeti tracks.
Yeti tracks.
Yeti tracks. All the way. We don't even have to, even discuss it, because everyone knows.
See all previous comments.
Yes. See our current Yeti-ish shirts. Claire's hat. We're all about the Yetis.
Should have brought my Yeti toy upstairs.
Should have.
He's on the sofa. Next question.
Would you rather solve the Fibonacci puzzle or the anagram puzzle?
Anagram puzzle. I don't feel like there's an immediate threat with it. Where the Fibonacci, if you miss one step, it's difficult to take a step back because it's all these pillars everywhere.
Yeah, and also they're crumbling out from underneath you. So if you miss it and don't immediately correct yourself, falling into a pit. Plus, they were doing math.
Yeah, it's too high pressure.
Yeah, I can't do math that fast, but I'm a fan of an anagram, like I've said 1,000 times in this episode already.
That's the thing with anagram. Sometimes you can see it and it just clicks. You can see it straight away.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to sit and really think about it. And at least in the dorm room, you can sit and think about it.
Sure. Yeah. You can take your time. Exactly. It doesn't feel as rushed.
Exactly.
But also, if you don't solve the anagram, then you can't get out of the room. You can't proceed. So you have to do it. Mm-hmm. So it is a little bit life and death, but less life and death than the Fibonacci puzzle.
Yes, it's less immediate.
Yes, there is some danger.
It's that level it's the threat level is lower.
Yes. Last question?
Would you rather get your Up All Night badge, Robin Hood badge, Naval Gauging badge, Everything Under the Sun badge, or Pungeon Master badge.
Again, why is this even a question? Pungeon Master. Pungeon Master
Exactly.
all the way.
Pungeon Master first, Up All Night second.
Yes. That's my same exact answer.
I think I've already earned them, so, you know.
Right. Yeah. So maybe we should pick a different one, because we probably both already have the Pungeon Master and the Up All Night badges.
No, I want to get them again.
You want to get them again? Does it work that way?
Again. Yes, I want to get the executive version. It's got shiny bits on.
I wouldn't mind getting the naval gauging badge. Because like I said, I would canoe. So
I would do the Robin Hood badge. I've done archery. It's wicked fun. I had a horrible bruise on my bosom though. I think I took a picture
on your
and sent it
giant
to
owl
you.
bosom. Yes.
Yeah. I think I took a picture and sent it to you. I was like, look at my boobie. Look, my bosom.
Yeah, I have that. I framed it.
All purples and blues and greens and yellows. It was nasty. Just nasty. But it was fun. It was fun. I would love to do archery lessons. I'd love to take proper classes and learn how to actually fire a bow. So if I can't have my Pungeon Master badge and I can't have my Up All Night badge, I want the Robin Hood badge.
Okay. Do you know what I want to do? Apart from everything that you just talked about, I want to try to throw an axe.
Do you have that?
Yeah, there's a restaurant that's not too far away from me that it's pizza. They have pizza and they have salads and they have axe throwing.
Now, you see, this place is just an axe throwing. It doesn't have pizza. It's missing a trick.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I want to try it. I want to try it.
Write that down to the list as well.
Yes. Waffle House, axe throwing.
Yes, we'll do Waffle House in the morning. We'll do axe throwing and pizza for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we'll take a nap in between.
Yes, and we'll have another nap before popcorn and movies.
Yes, that sounds like a perfect day. One day it'll happen. One day.
If we had loads more Patreons, that would help.
It really would. Give us some money, okay?
And if you're close by, you can meet up for waffles.
Yes, you can.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, we will. You know, if we ever do Fictional Hangover in Vegas, which we have talked about before, there's probably a place to throw axes in Vegas. Or nearby.
Yeah, it's called the Strip.
Let's just take axes out into the middle of Las Vegas. See what happens. Without hurting anyone, please.
It could be rubber axes, foam axes.
Yes. I think it's
We could
fine.
all just get dressed up as Lumberjanes.
We should.
But Rosie! No, we'll all get dressed up as Rosies.
No, I'm going to be April.
You'd be April. Yeah, you've got to be in your little Red Riding Hood outfit. And your torch.
Flashlight.
Anywho.
Anyway.
Moving
on to favorite final thought quote. What do you got?
There's so many, but I'm just going to give you 4.
Okay.
Just decided on 4. Poor Jen. I should have taken that internship with the space program. It would have been less of a headache.
Oh, poor Jen.
The river monsters are everywhere. We are never safe. Woohoo! Math and science and logic to the max. And finally, what did we learn today? That our worst nightmares are real and we should be totally afraid of them because they are coming to get us. Which is probably my favourite.
Yeah.
What have you got?
I'm pretty sure I sent you a picture of that panel while I was reading it, and squeed about it. That was a good one.
Yes, you did. And I was like, hee hee hee, it's already written down. Hee 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 hee.
Okay, let's see. I've got 3. Or I guess 4. We can add in a 4th one, since you did 4.
Or maybe 5.
Or all of them. Or I'm just going to sit down and read the entire comic to you guys.
Yeah, just do that. It's easier.
It is. Okay. It's trying to pick which one I want to start with. I'm going to catch a fish by wrestling it away from a bear. slightly before that, what the bejabbers is going on here? Or maybe it was after. I can't remember which order those came in. Bejabbers.
Related to them.
I might be. Bejabbers. Bejabbers. What the bejabbers is going on here?
I don't know what the bejabbers is going on.
I will snap your twig arms like twigs for your arrogance. That was Mr. Talking Statue.
Yeah.
And then I think finally we should end this segment with friendship to the max.
She punches her hat off.
Good job. All right, if you liked this, try this. What are you suggesting?
I've gone down the YA, queer, graphic novel, magic and fantasy route.
Okay.
With The Witch Boy by Molly Knox Ostertag. Yes. Everyone in Aster's family is born with magic. Boys grow up to be shapeshifters, girls into witches, no exceptions. But Aster can't seem to get the hang of shapeshifting. Instead, he spends his time spying on the witchery lessons the girls are getting. He seems to have a knack for casting spells and wants to know more. But the only person he can share his growing gift with is Charlie, a girl from the non-magical side of town. Then, during a night of shape-shifting practice, one of the boys goes missing. Aster knows he can search for the boy with the witchcraft he's been secretly learning. Could breaking his family's most important tradition save the day, or ruin everything?
Oh no, hopefully it will save the day, 'cause yikes.
What have you got?
I am suggesting something slightly different. I am suggesting a nonfiction this time.
Ooh.
It is called The Fire Never Goes Out, and it is a collection of essays and mini comics from Noelle Stevenson's early life.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like I should just say out loud that Noelle Stevenson in author illustrator form, is called Noelle Stevenson. But in their personal life, they prefer to be called N.D. Stevenson.
Yes.
So you might have noticed that we've gone back and forth saying N.D. and Noelle. And that is why. That is why we have done it. And anyway, here's I'm just going to read this description, and it's mostly going to be pretty much what I just said. So I'm just going to say it again. In a collection of essays and personal mini-comics that span 8 years of her young adult life, author-illustrator Noelle Stevenson charts the highs and lows of being a creative human in the world. Whether it's hearing the wrong name called at her art school graduation, or becoming a National Book Award finalist for her debut graphic novel, Nimona, Noelle captures the little and big moments that make up a real life with a wit, wisdom, and vulnerability that are all her own.
Sounds really interesting.
It's very cute. I started reading some of it last night. I read probably about a quarter of it, and it's sweet and cute and also tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's important to read it, though.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like for somebody not being able to be who they really are.
Yeah.
And it's important to read those books.
It is.
Also, Nimona. Read that.
Read Nimona!
Or go and check out episode 149 of this fair podcast.
Yes.
Nimona! Spoilers.
Science!
Do we read it, listen to our episode, and then when it's on Netflix you can watch it with us.
Yes, and also listen to the audiobook because it was great.
Oh, the audiobook was really good. Do you have an indie podcast?
We are an indie podcast, I guess.
We are.
Except for not really. We've been around for a while.
Well, we're still independent. We're
That's
not
true.
produced by anybody.
Yeah,
you know.
no
We
one...
are the producers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what responsibility and power we wield.
I know. There's so much power. There are so many things that I could do to just sabotage us completely in editing, but Why would I ever do that?
Well, I'm not unconvinced that... I'm not even going to try and say it what I said last week again. Je m'appelle Claude has in any way, shape or form been reduced down to its some parts. Half the episode from last week is me saying Je m'appelle Claude, but the other way, because I refuse to acknowledge it exists anymore. That word, that entire word, has now changed in my lexicon to Je m'appelle Claude. Fact.
Nope.
Manifest
Broken.
it.
Oh, I feel like I need to just grab the clip of you trying.
Insert
you
clip
trying
here.
to say it or gain reciprocity. It
Why
was
don't
so
you?
bad.
Why don't you be nice? And in the actual audio, just do the right one, and then you can save that travesty for right now.
No, it's just everywhere. All the
Ah.
time. It's everywhere.
Too much power.
Okay. What?
Indie Spotlight.
Indie Spotlight, yes.
Professionalism, please.
This one is called, it's a graphic novel. It's called The Boston Metaphysical Society by Madeline Holly Rosing. The year is 1895. Imagine an alternate steampunk history where ghosts and demons are a normal part of life. Families, known as the Great Houses, control the economy of the great states of America, and the middle and lower class Irish's sole purpose is to not only serve them, but to rid their lives of supernatural beings. This is the story of an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who work together to battle these supernatural forces. They are the Boston Metaphysical Society. Wish them luck. They are going to need it.
I think that sounds really good.
And I believe there's also an audiobook version of this with a full cast.
Ooh. Ooh. That's me intrigued.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, that's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss another spiteful Baker book, A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Magic by T. Kingfisher. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you'd like this episode, check out our others and rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.